Hey everybody, Jimmy Smith down to own my picks for UFC 308. That's right, Topuria versus Holloway. Good weekend for me. Good one. But hey, let's start at the beginning here, okay? And it is Sher versus Armen Petrosian. I picked Sher for this one. I think he stumbles at the next level, but this is not a next level fight, and I was right. Once again, when I broke down Sher and what I thought about his future in a previous video, his last fight before this one, I think, I said he just has defensive lapses. They're going to catch up with him against elite guys. Right in the beginning of this fight, Petrosian walks up, boom, 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 hits him with power punches and doesn't even move his head. Bang, bang, bang. And he gets in a brawl, and he wins, right? He won with the double spinning back fist. Great finish. Offensively, he's good. His defense is just god-awful, and you can close your eyes and throw a punch and hit him. Now, he's gone through the kind of guys who didn't have the one-shot power to finish him, and they weren't defensive specialists themselves. So what it led is to a tit-for-tat, you go, I go kind of fight, and he wins those. Elite guys don't play that game in combat sports. They don't do that. It's bang, 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 move, hit you again, or take you down. They just don't engage in, all right, you hit me, and then I hit you. All of the wars that generally work that way, there are exceptions to the rule, but are mid-level, lower-level fights, right? The ones where two guys just, the Gotti Ward. Well, Gotti and Ward weren't great boxers, right? They were never the elite of their particular divisions. And so that's where you get these wars. Generally speaking, elite fighters in their prime don't trade like that. So Sher is going to have problems moving forward. This was a kickboxing match on the feet. He got the better. I thought he lost round one, and he came back in round two and got the knockout in round number two. But, he wants Israel Adesanya next. Okay, Izzy, number one, has one shot, take you out kind of power, and his defense is good, and his control of range is good. Unless he's shot, right? Unless Izzy is just way worse than we think, and it does happen quickly. He may catch Izzy at the right time. That is possible. But I just don't see him being successful against the elite at 185 pounds. Another fight that was set up for him to win, a guy with decent offense, but pretty much limited to kickboxing, and Sher was able to win. So exactly what I expected. He was able to get the knockout in the second round. Good for him. But moving up past this point, this is where he's going to run into problems. But a win for him by double spinning back fists. Pretty sweet. Lerone Murphy versus Dan Eegay. Murphy winning by unanimous decision. A lot of people disagreed with this one. I understood that. I did. Eegay able to get a takedown in the first round. Did some slick veteran stuff, right? Murphy just didn't have his way with Eegay in these moments where usually his physical dominance would take over. And as it wore on, I thought Eegay was doing well as it dragged on in the third round, but there was back and forth. I understand why people thought Dan Eegay won it. It was a close fight. I also understand why Murphy won it. So I thought Murphy was going to maybe control this one a bit more against Dan Eegay, who's been through some wars and might be a bit faded. That wasn't the case. Eegay did have some veteran savvy, did do well with the takedown, did do well up close with punches. He's not a great outside fighter. He's good on the inside. Good hooks, good power right hands. That was a factor in the fight. It was a back and forth fight. As they were sitting there waiting for their hands to be raised, I was leaning toward Eegay, but Murphy ended up winning it. I thought he would do better on the outside than he did. He's going to have to do better to step up because Dan Eegay is the gatekeeper at 145 pounds. Well, he got past the gate. Well, now it's just monsters, right? It's just really excellent fighters and veteran guys who have great finishing ability. And you got to do better against those guys than you did against Dan Eegay. But Murphy gets the win. I called that one as well. I thought he'd win by decision, so I'm 2-0. Magomed Ankalaev, Alexander Rakic. Wasn't the most exciting fight on earth. This fight to me showed why Magomed Ankalaev might have the skill set to give Alex Pereira a lot of problems. It also showed why they won't give him that fight unless they absolutely have to. He's not scintillating. He's not must-see TV. He is workmanlike. He's well-rounded. He's big. Not afraid to engage, but doesn't take a lot of offensive risks. All of this was on display in this fight. Alexander Rakic is a big, strong, physical 205er, and Ankalaev was able to kind of stalk him and push him back and impose his will a bit. Didn't do anything outstanding. Didn't do anything great. Both guys looked fine at the end of the fight. It's the exact kind of guy that can beat almost anyone in a particular weight class. But they're not going to sell a ton of tickets. You're not super enthused about watching them fight. He's in a tough spot. It's almost what I say oftentimes in combat sports, the anti-sweet spot, the place you don't want to be, is a very dangerous fighter that fans really don't connect with. Because promoters have all the reason in the world to either get you beat, as we say in the business, meaning find somebody who can get this guy out of here, or just kind of keep you off to the side and all right, yeah, a title eliminator. Oh, that didn't work out. Another title eliminator. Just string you along as long as they possibly can. And every fight you have is going to be against a murderer because they want you out of there. Benil Dariush, Bilal Muhammad, the guys that, man, really tough, but we don't want them to be champion because they might beat our guy, the one who people do want to be champion. It's tough. And I believe Magomed Ankalaev is kind of that guy. Now, what's working in his favor is he's kind of, Pereira has kind of run through everyone at 205. There aren't a lot of options. I don't know who at 205 they're going to put out there other than Ankalaev. I don't know what they're going to do. They might move him to heavyweight. That's a possibility. Kind of have that super fight before he fights Ankalaev. It's just they're going to try and avoid Ankalaev as much as humanly possible. There just aren't a lot of options right now. 205 is a division with a lot of parity, but not a lot of stars that you can go, oh man, that guy deserves his shot first. There just aren't a lot. That's part of the run of Pereira. As I've said in previous breakdowns, Pereira is really, really good, but he's destroying a division that doesn't have a lot of wrestlers. It's not super deep. It's just solid with a bunch of strikers in it. Ankalaev can beat all those guys. So Ankalaev wins, unanimous decision. That was really the last stumbling block before you really got to give the guy a title shot. And I believe he gives Pereira a lot of problems, but we'll see how I pick that one when it comes up. But Magomed Ankalaev by unanimous decision, that's what I picked. 3 in a row for me. On to the co-main event, Khamzat Chimaev, Robert Whittaker. Okay, so I picked Robert Whittaker in this one. I thought the odds were absurd for Khamzat Chimaev. My logic was Robert Whittaker has never been finished in the first round at 185 pounds. It's never happened. And when it comes to a 5-rounder, Khamzat Chimaev has never been a 5-round guy. He hasn't even been a 3-round guy. He tends to run out of gas after round 2-ish. So I thought, okay, Robert can ride out round number 1 and then start taking over in rounds, 3, 4, and 5, probably, maybe even end of round 2. And this is what it looked like. Khamzat Chimaev was just going at him, guns blazing, took him down easily right in the opening of round number 1, on him like white on rice. But, from a jiu-jitsu perspective, he wasn't able to really lock Robert down. Both hooks in, good hip pressure, neck starts opening up. That was never the case. And so every time it looked like he was in trouble, kind of fishing around the neck, Whittaker was able to turn and defend himself every time. Like, he was always in trouble, but from a jiu-jitsu perspective, I was like, well, he's not really locking him down. It's not like, oh, my guy doesn't have anywhere to go. He kept stepping his leg back to free himself from the far side hook. Just being patient, going, okay, this round's a wash, right? I'm going to lose. But, 10-9, I'll be back next round. Whittaker was being smart, even though Khamzat was dominating him. So I was looking at this going, okay, it looks like he'll get out of the first round. And then he gets a rear naked. Didn't look super duper tight. Didn't look placed properly underneath the chin. Hips weren't in great position, and he just cracked his jaw. We have all seen the pictures. Teeth apparently cracked it just cracked his jaw. And that's it. Robert Whittaker taps very quickly round number 1. And the problem, from my perspective, is I wanted Khamzat Chimaev to prove me wrong the other way. If he had won a long, difficult, grueling 4 or 5 round fight, I would go, okay, this guy might be ready for not just fight for a title, but win the title. Beating Robert Whittaker in the first round is, okay, we know you're great in the first round. We all know that. To be a champion, and not just be a champion, to have a title run that's worth a fart in a windstorm, that lasts at all, you have to win those 4 and 5 round fights. You just do. Guys at the elite level, you're not going to finish everybody in the first 2 rounds. It's not going to happen. So you need to show us you can do that. And he hasn't yet. Now, that's not on him. If you can beat Robert Whittaker in round number 1, do it. But to me, as a fan, as a pundit, as whatever I am that you guys listen to, I went, God, another first-round finish. Great, right? It gives us that highlight reel. Oh, my God, he finished Robert Whittaker. Great stuff. But for me as a fan, I need to know you can win a long, tough fight. And he hasn't shown us that yet. He just hasn't. So he's probably going to get the title shot after Strickland Duplessis. And he's going to take on the winner. And the problem is that the winner can, once again, get out of rounds 1 and 2 with their head attached to their body. Then it's going to be difficult. And Dricus Du Plessis and Sean Strickland are both kind of that guy. They just, they're good at dragging people into deep water. So is Robert Whittaker. And Robert Whittaker can do it. So it's just, it's frustrating because, if he's going to prove me wrong, because I didn't think he'd finish Robert Whittaker in round 1. I didn't think he'd win a long fight. I'd rather he wins the long fight. Then I go, oh man, this guy could be champion. Beating Robert Whittaker in round number 1, yeah, I didn't expect it, but it didn't solve the problem of can this guy win late. So I guessed wrong in the co-main event, so I'm 3-1 on the night. Main event, I picked Ilia Topuria over Max Holloway. As this fight was going, and please let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. The numbers favored Max Holloway in the time that this fight was happening, where he was landing more significant strikes. One thing I always try to say on air is significant strikes are not created equal. They're not all the same. And what I saw was Holloway landing punches, and even the replay they showed of his right hand, it was kind of a pushing right hand. And then Ilia Topuria kind of rolled with it, and it was kind of this pushing right hand. When they would show Ilia Topuria strikes, they were straight, tight, turned over very, very well. He was doing damage with his punches in a way that Max Holloway, I didn't feel was. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But one of the differences, that a judge should see, that your average person shouldn't, is effectiveness of the punches. Meaning your average person, generally speaking, can't really tell the difference between, unless it's super duper, sweat flies everywhere, it's one of those big punches. If two guys are landing punches, a lot of people just can't see the difference. If you've been around combat sports a lot, man, they're both landing. And I go, no, this guy's really landing. You see how it's bang, it's snapped, it's turned over, there's full extension, the placement is perfect, and you're right at the end of the punch. And so when he would hit Holloway, I was like, bow, these really good punches. Now, Holloway, to use a pro wrestling term, didn't sell it, right? He seemed like he was all right, but I could tell he was like, sure, that was a good right hand. The left hook was doing damage. When he would get hit with those shots, he would hit Ilia, but it was very Max Holloway-ish, where he's not a one-shot knockout guy. They were these kind of like a little bit loopy, not devastating punches, but when Ilia would find his one shot, it was bing! It was one of those. As I was watching that, I go, Ilia's going to find the button. Holloway's hitting him. At one point, correct me if I'm mistaken, it was like 40-25, I think in round number 2 in significant strikes. But once again, I didn't see them as equally significant. I saw Holloway's as kind of these slapping punches, and I thought Ilia was landing these just really tight technical punches. I mean, that's how you teach people to punch in the gym. It's like Ilia Topuria, right? His left hand's glued to his chin, so he doesn't need the counterpunch, and it's the straight right shoulder turning over, arm turning over, hip, heel, and hand is how I was taught. That's how you're supposed to punch, and that's how he does. That's why his punch is like bing. And as I was watching, I go, he's going to find the button. Like, Holloway's hitting him, but Holloway's not hurting him. Topuria's hurting him when he lands those really devastating punches, and he got it. Round number 3, put him down with the right hand and finished him on the ground. Minute 34 into round number 3. I called Ilia Topuria to win it, so I'm 4-1 on the night. Where does he go from here? Ilia Topuria. Max Holloway was one half of, kind of this generation's 145-pound greats with Holloway and Volkanovski. Already beat Volkanovski, knocked him out. Knocks out Holloway, who was just impossible to knock out, finishes him. He's going to rematch Volk. I don't see it working out any differently. Think he knocks him out again. Another thing we saw with Robert Whittaker, look, this generation is just moving on. It happens. I've been through 4 or 5 at this point in MMA generations. They're much shorter than generations in life. And it's, guys, it happens. These are the best 45ers ever. Yeah, so was Jose Aldo. Now he's gone, right? It's just every generation, just Father Time's undefeated. And I see this generation. I think that's what we saw a little bit with this card. It's just that last generation is off into the sunset. It's going to be over. I think he beats Volk. Diego Lopez is solid. I think he beats Diego Lopez. Ilia's going to be the man for the foreseeable future. Eventually somebody's going to beat him, but I just don't see a lot of weaknesses in his game. His takedown wasn't a huge factor, but he showed it was there, right? Got a couple good, fast takedowns on Holloway, but his striking is superb, really superb. And there are certain guys who win, but, like when you show them to your people at the gym, when I used to teach MMA, I'd go, yeah, it's fun. Don't fight like that, right? We see Roy Jones Jr. Don't do that, right? I know it's fun to watch. We all love Roy Jones Jr., all right? But don't do that. Don't drop your hands and throw a left hook across the ring. You're just not built like that, right? Ilia is one of the guys you show at the gym and go, that's how you do that. Hands up, tight, right? Shoulders up, chin down, hand glued, always on the phone is what we say in the gym. Always on the phone, always on the phone. It's just when you watch him fight, you go, it's hard to get to this dude. Fundamentally extremely sound. All right? Not huge for the weight class, but strong. Paddy Pimblett, I think, he's talking about he'll fight. Dude, I think he puts Paddy Pimblett in a hospital. He's just too technical and too strong for him. And Paddy makes a lot of technical mistakes, and Ilia would take advantage and knock him out. I don't think a move to 55 would be good for him. He's not, as I just said, a huge 45er. He's decently sized, but nah. He'll lose to Islam. He'll lose to the best at 55 beat him. They're too big. They're too strong. If he took maybe a year and really put into bulking up, his frame, he's like 5'7", 5'8", Holloway's 5'11". You could see how Holloway could add bulk to his frame and fight at 55. He knocked out Justin Gaethje. I don't see a comparable thing with Ilia. If he added muscle to get up to 55, he'd be bulky and slow. Well, that's not how he's going to win. So I just don't see the physical frame to fight at 155. I think he stays at 45, and he's the man for a long time. That's what I believe. But 4-1 on the weekend, good stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I'll be back for the next fight.